7-10 last year. All the changes in the offseason. You have to like their offense on paper. Williams, Allen, Odunze, Kmet, Moore, Swift. Nasty defense, how well the defense played since they acquired Sweat. So the win total is all over the place. At Caesars and MGM, it's 9. At DraftKings, it's 8.5, over -160. The alt is 10.5, under -250. Division wins 2.5, over -190. Also at DraftKings, to start 5-0 plays +350. To start 4-1 +225. Do the wheels come off? Are they a big disappointment? To start 1-4, that pays 9-1. They're $1.20 to make the playoffs. They're +265 to win the division. Stranger things have happened. They're 12-1 to get the 1 seed. Williams is even money to have the most passing yards for a rookie. Odunze 14-1 to lead in receiving. They start week 1 at home against Tennessee. Then they go to Houston. They go to Indy. Rams at home, Panthers at home. That's the first 5 games. But here's where I'm at. They were so good last year down the stretch defensively that they're going to be much better on offense, and you finally have a passing attack, and you can put some fear into people stretching the ball down the field. Last year on offense, 21st in points per game, 28th in passing yards per game, 20th in yards per game. They lost 6 games by 1 score. They also were losing 20-17 late against Tampa, and then Fields threw a pick 6 when they were backed up. He had 16 touchdowns and 9 interceptions. Once in his career has he thrown for more than 300 yards in a game. And he had 2,500 yards last year and was 23rd in QBR. Williams is going to be better. Williams is going to be, I don't know if you say he's going to be a star right off the bat, but it's an upgrade at the position. The one thing I don't like is they played so well down the stretch, they saved the Eberflus's job. And I can't get there with him, but it's certainly a big win. And when you talk to Bears fans, they feel the same way. Number 1 with the offseason. Number 2, Getsy's gone, and Waldron's the new OC.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Luke Getsy's now the new OC in Las Vegas, which I did not think was a great hire by the Raiders. We'll see how that works out. The Bears, I think the fans are somewhat optimistic because they haven't had much to be hopeful about, and they thought Justin Fields might be the answer. Now you turn to Caleb Williams. I like Caleb Williams. I don't love him. And I talked about this last year before the USC Notre Dame game when the Trojans got roughed up and Caleb Williams played a horrific game against the Irish in South Bend. If you get physical with him, get in his face, he's going to have problems. And, you're not facing soft Pac-12 defenses anymore. You saw what happened to Caleb when he went on the road and faced Notre Dame. Well, he's going to have some growing pains this season. To me, it's...
Why don't you bring up when he almost won the Heisman, though?
What's that?
Last year was bad, I know, but the year before that, they should have been in the playoff, and he was Superman.
He was until the last couple of games, and he wasn't Superman. When he painted his fingernails, F Utah, and then got his butt kicked by Utah. Remember that, right?
Well, they certainly also didn't have a defense, but that's fair.
Well, here's what I'm saying. With these Pac-12 quarterbacks, you got to be a little bit careful because they face soft defenses in college, and it's going to be a totally different world when you get to the NFL. And he can't go out there and freelance and make the type of plays at the NFL level that he did when he was at USC. Now, he's surrounded by outstanding skill position talent. Bears offense is going to be pretty good. To sum it up, here's how I feel about the Bears in the futures market, what I would play. And I've said this for the last 2 months. With that win total at 9 at Caesars Will Hill, you got to bet it under.
Yep.
You got to make the Bears win 10 games and beat you in that bet. Can they go 10-7? I doubt it. Can they go 9-8? Yeah, it's certainly possible. But you're going to push on that win total. You play it under 9. I'm not playing under 8.5. Got to play under 9, and I think that's the way you have to play the Bears win total.
Yep. That's what I bet, and that's what I gave out in the betting guide as well. And thanks to Femi for putting me on that. I echo your sentiments about make them go 10-7 to beat you. And again, but there's 8.5s out there at a lot of places as well. If I say who's going to be the big, now maybe all 3 of them make the playoffs. That's possible. And there's a good prop up at DraftKings. The division have the most wins. It's the second choice. The favorite is the AFC North. NFC North checking in, I think it's plus 330. But if I go Lions, Packers, Bears, who's going to be the disappointment there? Everyone thinks the Lions are going to be certainly right there with the 1 seed or have a great chance to go to the Super Bowl. Would it be Packers, Bears? What do you think in terms of if there's going to be a disappointment out of the 3, who would you pick?
Well, when you say something like everyone thinks, then you have to start to think the opposite. Because in the NFL, when everyone thinks something, you don't want to be with everyone.
Well, these are 3 sexy teams. These are 3 very popular
Believe
teams.
me, this time a year ago, I was touting the Packers like crazy. I thought Packers going to be last year's breakout team. They got off to a slow start, finally put it together in the second half of the season. I like most things about the Lions. I think Jared Goff could have another monster season. I like a lot about the Packers. The Bears, I'll tell you one thing the Bears do have going for them. That schedule is pretty soft.
Yes. Could you put that back up? I was just going to say that. In that stretch.
Titans, Patriots, Cardinals, Panthers. You got a lot of weak spots, soft spots on that schedule that could help. That's why I don't want to bet under 8.5.
Right. Look at this stretch.
Play under 9, yeah.
Start week 5, right? Week 5, Carolina at home. Jacksonville and London. Okay? Bye. Washington, Arizona, Patriots, Packers, Vikings. Then that's 3 in a row at home. It's at Washington, at Arizona, Patriots, Packers, Vikings at home, at Detroit on Thanksgiving. I mean, they could do some serious damage there starting week 5 through week 12. And you're right, Titans, Texans, Colts, Rams. You get out of there 2-2, then you really you can start cooking and start rattling off some W's, especially if the defense plays like it did to close last season.
You know what's odd about that schedule? And we talked about it after the schedule release. When you look at it, it just kind of jumps off the page at you. The Bears play all of their division games week 11 through week 18. I don't like that. 0 division games in the first 10 weeks of the season.
Yeah.
But this is why you have to be careful and why I wouldn't bet under 8.5. Paul, you were talking about Titans, Panthers, Jaguars, Commanders, Cardinals, Patriots. Look how many soft spots there are on that.
Right.
Are sitting right there on that schedule, and I think that 10-7 is still a lofty number for the Bears to have to get to, and I would play under 9. I think they're probably going to be an 8-9 team, maybe a 9-8 team, just because that schedule sets up so well.
The back that is tough at the back end. No doubt
the back
about
end
it.
of the schedule is what's going to get you. The Bears could get off to a pretty good start.
The other thing, here's where I'm at. When they fell behind with Fields, they were done because he couldn't throw the ball. And that I go back to what happened in the final game of the season. The defense played great ball. They shut down Love and the Packers. They lose 17-9. I mean, once they fell behind, that was all she wrote. And there were and also, if I could also look at this and say they went 7-10. They got off to the horrible start, and then look how many 6 one-score losses. You lose by 3 to Denver. You lose by 6 to Minnesota. You lose by 7 to New Orleans. You lose by 5 to Detroit. Fields had some turnovers in that game. You lose by 3 to Cleveland. I think Fields had a pick 6 or was that turnover in that one as well. The Green Bay game, and then Fields had the pick 6 against Tampa. So that's going to go my way too. I'm not going to lose all those close games again as well.
Well,
so
it's also part of being a poorly coached team.
That's true.
Matt Eberflus.
What do you think of him?
I don't think much of him as a head coach. I think he's a bumbling fool for the most part. He is a pretty good defensive coordinator, miscast as a head coach, and that's another problem the Bears are going to have because he mismanages games. He's not a strong leader either. I mean, that's one thing. If you're ranking, Paul, we should probably do this. Rank head coaches in the NFL 1 through 32. Eberflus got to be in your bottom 10.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's absolutely fair. So it pays plus 650 at DraftKings. The exacta, I would go Detroit, Green Bay, Chicago, Minnesota, how it finishes. And we'll see maybe if they could get 3 teams in the playoffs. But you know, everyone's drinking the Packers Kool-Aid. Everyone's high on the Lions. And certainly what Green Bay team are we going to get and what Love are we going to get? The one who struggled, the one who looked so good down the stretch and destroyed Dallas and should have beat San Francisco on the road. And then it all looks good on paper for the Bears. See if they can get it done and light up the scoreboard as well.